All right, so now that we're ready to get started with our Bluetooth speaker, the first thing we need to do is get the speakers themselves in. We're going to use what are called derived parts, meaning that a lot of times when engineers will design things, they design them with the idea that there's off-the-shelf parts that they're going to be utilizing in the design. So in this case, speakers, electronics, batteries will all have kind of a common shape, or we may have parts that we already know that we're purchasing to use within our design. And so we're going to design around that part. And so that's the case of this file. So what you need to do is go click on the plus, import, and then in Classroom, for today's assignment, you should have two files, a small speaker and a large speaker step. You need to click on both of those and open, and a box will pop up here and it'll import them. And then what you'll see is your assemblies as well as your part studios for each of the speakers, as well as these step files. And so what we need to do now in the part studio is we need to actually derive them or use them in this particular part studio, because we're going to be making our Bluetooth housing around them. So we're going to click on derived and speaker large and OK. And we need to make a little bit of a movement on this. So we're going to go and click on transform, and we're going to select that, translate by XYZ, and we have some coordinates that we need to plug in. So X is going to be negative 0.8327. Cannot emphasize how important it is for you to type in the negatives and for you to type this in exactly the way the document states. If you don't, then it will cause a world of trouble for you. So make sure that those three numbers are all typed in correctly and accept, and that will move the speaker down. We then need to derive another part, our small speaker. We're going to accept that. And then we're going to transform that one as well. So we're going to click on that, translate XYZ, and then our values are -4 and -1.58802, and then -1.6872. There we go. So now we accept that. Now both of our speakers are in here. Now this is not a parts, this is not an assembly, so why are we bringing these in? Again, we're using these as templates to sketch things, to create things. And that's often done in design, is to bring in parts that already exist and design things around them. So now we have those parts, we can start making the front of our housing. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to get to the front plane, we're going to go normal, and we're going to create a sketch. And in that sketch, we are going to go ahead and hide these guys so they aren't in our way. And we're going to do a center point rectangle from the origin. And we're going to dimension the edge of this, and that's going to be 3.75. And then we're going to go ahead and do sketch fillets on the corners. And the radius is going to be 0.5. If it gives you something else like 0.25, notice you can just type that in. And then I'm going to sketch fillet that one as well. And then same thing here. Notice that the mouse pointer is just telling you that you click on the point and then click the left mouse button, and it automatically accept those. And now they're all done properly. We need a center circle, again from the origin, and we're going to dimension that one as well. And that's going to be 2.55. And then we need to do another circle. Now, it's very easy to do this. If you do this, then it will cause you trouble. Do not let it auto reference for you. Just draw a circle. And then we're going to dimension this circle, and we're going to choose 1.6. Now, why did I not do that? Because we're getting ready to use this small speaker, which has a set coordinate system that we're going to use to do that. So we're going to click on the concentric constraint, and we're going to click here. And then we're going to click on any of these circles should work, and I'll move the circle to lock it into position where the speaker is. That's what we want. If you let that horizontal constraint happen, then it will create issues. So make sure you don't let the horizontal constraint occur. Because this is a fixed coordinate system, it's already a created object, it allows us to lock that into place, and now it's fully constrained because it's tied to where the speaker is located. We also need to go ahead and create a construction line from here down, and that needs to be locked into the midpoint. And we now have that as well. So let me go back to normal here. So that construction line is locked into the midpoint. It's straight down the middle. Since it is the midpoint, we can use that to create a speaker hole on this side as well. So I'm going to click on the mirror line and the entity to be mirrored, and now they are equidistant from either side, the same way that they should be. Again, that goes back to when we talk about design intent. The design intent is that those speakers should be evenly spaced on both sides. Otherwise, it would look weird. So dimension that edge out, and we now have a fully constrained image, and we are good to go. So now that we have that selected, we're going to go ahead and accept, and then we're going to select all of this sketch, and we're going to extrude, and we are going to symmetric extrude 2 inches. Make sure you choose symmetric. The reason why we're choosing symmetric is that we're going to be carving out some of the back of this, and so we need to be make sure that we have enough back there to carve out. I'm going to create a sketch on the face of this here, and then when I do that, I'm going to use the offset tool, and I'm going to grab this face, and that offset is going to be, let's see, 0.35. So I create the offset, and I'm going to type in 0.35, and that will bump it in. And now I have this nice rounded rectangle that used this and just offset it in. So it's fully constrained because it's defined by this outer perimeter. So now what we need to do is accept that, and we need to select this and extrude it in. So we're going to remove a little bit. We're going to remove 0.1 inches of the part here. So we'll accept that and accept. And now we have this little inset, which is where our speakers are going to mount into. All right, so now that we've created that part, we need to create the face or the bezel that's going to go inside of it. So we're going to select the same drawing, and we're going to choose extrude again. This time we're going to choose new, and we're going to choose up to face. And we're just going to click on this edge here, and it'll create in here, and then we will accept. And now we have this bezel, or I'm sorry, this front face, essentially. So we're actually going to name that. So we're going to go here and rename, or call this face. And we will call this the case. By the way, you can also rename some of these as well. So if you wanted to, you could rename the derived parts like small speaker, large speaker, to make it a little bit easier to find things within the features as you go. So what we're going to do is we're going to hide the face for now, and we're going to start working on creating some sketches. So what we need to do is we need to select this face here, and we're going to create a sketch, normal to that. And then we're going to create a rounded rectangle from this origin point, and dimension is going to be here. We're going to do 2.85, and we're going to do our sketch fillets again, and that's going to be 0.45. Again, how do we know these dimensions? Well, we have measurements from the speaker because it's an in-stock part, and that's how they know those measurements. So we have all those in there. So we'll notice that this is not fully constrained yet because this is a square. So we need to use equals here and even those up. Now it's all locked into place, and it's an actual square. We're going to accept that sketch, and then we're going to take that, and we're going to remove material from the frame. So we're going to hit extrude, remove, and we're going to do 0.15 and draft 25 degrees. And you'll notice what the draft does is that it takes this and kind of curves it as it comes in. So you can see that change occurring. So here's just the normal outside draft, so it's not really taking it into effect. When I switch the direction, then you'll see that there's a substantial difference here. Again, that's just creating a little curving of the space to allow that speaker to sit in there properly. So we're going to go ahead and accept that. All right, and now we're going to create our geometry for our small speaker. So you go normal here, sketch, and again, we're going to create a rectangle. We're going to go ahead and click here. Again, be careful about that alignment. We don't want to necessarily do that right off the bat. This is going to be a square, so we're going to use equals here to lock those in to the right dimensions, and then we're going to do a 0.375 fillet on the edge. So we're going to do that one. Notice that the fillet values transfer when you change them. So if I do it on one, it's going to assume that I want to do them on all. Now this is not blue or not black yet because it hasn't been located. So we need to go in here and unhide sketch one, and we're going to kind of change this here. And so this point and that point should both be center points of each other. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go to case, and I could hide case if I wanted to see these two center points here is what I'm looking for. So I need to make sure that those are aligned. So let's see if we can get this. And again, this might be a bit tricky depending on your angle and what you're selecting. So we want to do the coincident constraint, and we'll see if we can find those. There we go. Now you'll notice that I'm still not quite locked into place. So I probably just need to do an equals between this side and this side. We'll see if that locks it in. There we go. So now all the sides are equal because it's a square. It's constrained in location. So now it works. So we're going to accept that. And again, we're going to remove. And this is going to be 0.1 on this one. It's a little smaller speaker, draft of 25 degrees. And we want to make sure the direction is the correct direction. So again, we should see that curving of the removal as we select that. So we're going to accept that. And now what we need to do is we need to mirror that feature on the other side. So that was extrude 5. So we need to look for the mirror. So here it is, mirror. We're going to select a feature mirror. And the mirror plane is going to be the right plane. And the feature to mirror is going to be extrude 5. And there it is. All mirrored up and nice. And we hit accept. And there we go. So we can do the feature mirror that way using the plane. And now we're ready to start creating the battery compartment.